Every year we set goals, but most people often get stuck in the cycle of constant frustration and failure. What if you can finally break through? In this episode, I'm going to share with you the 4 powerful principles to outwork, outlearn, and outlast the people around you so that you can finally overcome those roadblocks and make 2025 your breakthrough year. Welcome back to Be Unafraid podcast. My name is Fortune, and today we're going to be jumping right into part 2 of our 3-part series that is going to help you take on 2025 with confidence. If you missed part 1 of the 3-part series where I dive deep into the 10 life lessons that I wish I knew sooner, the link is in the description below. Today I'm going to share with you 4 powerful principles on how to outwork, outlearn, out-improve, and out-strategize the people around you so that you have a better chance of 2025 being your breakthrough year and actually accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish in your life. In part 3 of the series, we're going to go through a framework to create a vision and mission for your life so that you can go through life knowing exactly where you want to go. So subscribe so you don't miss that episode. The first key principle that you need to adopt is to learn how to outwork. Action beats inaction. Those who take action in their lives and those who put in work where other people don't want to put in work have a higher chance of actually being successful and actually accomplishing their goals and objectives. But there's actually a secret or a catch to this that a lot of successful people don't really say outright or don't really tell you, but if you really study them and you look at what they do, you can really understand how they're outworking people. And an example I can tell you is when I set a goal for myself to release 50 episodes in a year for this particular podcast, and that equals 1 episode every single week, I fell into the trap of spending a lot of time researching, editing tips, thumbnail strategies, lighting setups, and by the end of the week, I actually hadn't posted any content at all. I had spent most of my time on all these other things and creating that perfect strategy, that perfect plan that I'm going to execute. But if you had asked me a month into it, where is your first episode? I would have told you that I'm still working on it. It's right there. I have the strategy. Here's my strategy. Look how great it is. But the episode is still not out yet. And the interesting thing about that is by doing all those things, which are important, I felt like I was actually being busy. I felt like I was putting in hours. I felt like I was working hard. And it tricked my mind into thinking that I was actually putting in quality hours. But what I didn't realize was that I was working on the wrong things. I was not focused on the primary drivers of building a channel and launching a channel and posting on YouTube. That's not what I was focusing on. I was focusing on branding. I was focusing on storytelling. I was focusing on aesthetics and on audio, but I was not focusing on the things that would actually get me to sit down in the morning at a table, write an outline, structure an outline, turn on a camera, and then record a video and post a video. Those things are important, but those things are not primary drivers. And that is the kind of secret, you could say, to the philosophy of outworking. It's important to outwork, and taking on this principle to outwork is something that you need to do, but you need to do it in a smart way. Putting in hours and hours and hours in things that don't drive the mission forward is really just going to lead to frustration and burnout. And you will look back 6 months from now and you'll realize that you haven't made as much progress as you thought you would, and it's going to frustrate you. But when you learn to focus on the primary drivers, the things that move the ball forward, the things that move the needle forward, you will be shocked at how much you can get done in just half the time than it would have taken you if you had not focused on the primary drivers. So the first thing that you need to do in this framework of outworking and this principle and philosophy is to define your destination. What is your big goal? Where are you trying to get to? What project are you trying to launch? What thing are you trying to do? Identify that final destination first, and then you can start with that as the foundation of how you're going to get there. Once you know where you're going, you can now start to work backwards to reverse engineer where you're going to go and how you're going to get to that thing. Think about it with the concept of an airplane. So when you get in an airplane and the pilot is flying an airplane and you ask the pilot, where are we going? If the pilot tells you that, I don't know where we're going, or they just tell you a generic location, we're headed east, you're going to sit there scratching your head that I'm getting on this plane to get to a specific destination, but you're telling me that you're just headed east. How do you know when we get to east? How do you know when we've reached our final destination? How do you even know what path to take? Because there is no specific destination in mind. So the very first thing you need to do before you even start putting in hours and working on things and constantly grinding on things is to have a very clear picture of where is it you want to go? What's the destination? What's the final endpoint? Once you narrow that down, step number 2 is to now define your top 5 drivers, meaning what are the top 5 things that are going to move you closer to that goal? What do you have to do every single day to actually get the wheels turning? This really serves as a filter mechanism to filter out a lot of the things that you spend your time on, and it allows you to now focus on things that make big progress, on things that actually build the mountain that you're trying to build, instead of focusing on those other things that are just time wasters. So once you narrow down those 5 things, you now become a little bit more clearer as to where you're trying to go. So you have your destination, you have your 5 primary drivers. The third step is now to take your 5 primary drivers and narrow that down to your 3 primary drivers. The reason behind this is because the human brain is designed to survive and thrive, meaning that when the brain has an opportunity to conserve calories and not sit there and focus on so many different things, it's going to take that opportunity. Your brain is going to try to think about other things that are less stressful, other things that are not as overwhelming, and you're not going to get as much stuff done. So there's been some science that's been done before that when you present more than 3 options to somebody, more than 3 options to a brain, your brain actually starts to get overwhelmed and it becomes very difficult to focus on that. So 3 is a sweet spot to really focus on. So once you've identified your 5, you narrow it down to 3 and you really focus and give your brain the opportunity to now look at the lay of the land and say, these are the 3 things that I'm going to focus on for the next month, for the next 6 months, for the next year. And when you do that, you start to get more and more focus. Step number 4, what I like to do is I'll even go a little bit further. I'll take those 3 things and then I'm going to narrow it down to just one thing, which is what I call the big one. This is going to be the one thing that I focus on every single day, the one thing that I'm going to get done every single day. And the reason for that is for people like me who still work a full-time job and are building a side hustle, creating content, building a business on the side, you don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of energy. So how you spend your time outside of your 9-to-5 time, outside of the time with your family, is very critical. And if you don't give yourself an opportunity to succeed by focusing on 5, 10, 15 things, you're going to end up doing 5, 10, 15 things, and you're not going to actually accomplish your goals. But when you focus on one thing every day, and you wake up every single morning and you say, this is the one thing that's going to drive my mission forward, that's going to drive the project forward, the goal forward every single day, then you're actually going to start to build some momentum. You're actually going to start getting things done. And then psychologically in your mind, you start to see that vehicle move forward. And when you start to see that, you start to get energized and you want to do it even more. Over time, this creates a compounding effect. And by that, I mean small actions that you take every single day. They build, and they get bigger and bigger. And when you look back 6 months from now, you will be shocked at just how much you've done when you decided to become clear on where you're going, when you decided to narrow down the top 5 things that move your mission forward, narrow that down to 3, and then narrow that down to one big item that you're going to do every single day. Once you complete that one big thing, go on to the next big one, do that the next day. When you finish that big one, go on to the next big one, do that the next day. You'll be very shocked at what you can build in 6 months, at what you can build in 1 year. And you're going to feel like you're actually starting to move in your life. Focus on what matters the most. Action will create momentum in your life. And once you get momentum, that's going to drive success. The second core principle is to out-improve. Success isn't actually about knowing everything. It's about how fast you can learn and adapt, and how fast you can implement that knowledge that you learn. This was a very interesting concept to me because I used to think that people were just inherently smart and that there were people that were born smarter than me, which can be the case for some people. But for the most part, intelligence is about the rate that you take in information and you understand information and you learn. And that is a skill that you can develop over time by out improving. And that is a core characteristic to this principle in out improving. So when I started creating content and releasing episodes on YouTube here, I knew nothing about recording videos and editing videos. I knew nothing about audio. I didn't know anything about lighting. I didn't know anything about creating thumbnails and Photoshop and all of that. I used this principle of out improving and realizing that I have the ability to learn and I have a growth mindset. So I hunkered down and I read books. I read books on creating YouTube videos. I read books that were created by other content creators on their journeys on how to create YouTube videos, how to post podcasts. I watched a ton of videos on YouTube. I watched a lot of tutorials on Photoshop. I watched a lot of tutorials on how to create thumbnails. I watched a lot of tutorials on the best lights to buy for me that I wanted, for the style that I wanted, and the camera that I wanted to buy. And I watched tutorials on how to use all of these gadgets and electronics because I was committed to out improving. That decision to outwork first and now to out improve by taking on knowledge made all the difference for me. If you go back and you look at my first video that I posted on YouTube, and then you compare it to this video right here, you're going to see that there's a big difference in quality. There's a big difference in audio. There's a big difference in the setup that I have here. There's a big difference in the lightings that I have now and the backgrounds that I have and the thumbnails that I'm creating. It's because out improving is one of my principles, and my core philosophy and something I've committed to for life is to constantly learn and to constantly get better and better and better. When you take on that type of philosophy, especially when you're trying to accomplish goals that you set for yourself, you are going to become a wealth of knowledge in that thing that you're trying to learn, because you're going to become hyper focused on learning it, and you're going to become hyper focused on improving yourself and becoming so good in that aspect that it's almost going to be inevitable that you will accomplish the thing that you're trying to accomplish. So to out improve, there is a framework that I use with 4 steps. And the first part of that framework is to Identify the skills and knowledge you need to reach your goal. In the first principle, outworking, we outlined what your destination is going to be. Where are you going to go? That's very clear. Now, in out improving, identify what skills and knowledge do I need to learn to accomplish that goal? Who do I need to be at the end of this journey to say, yes, I have accomplished this? My destination is to be a content creator and to create content and to build a community. Who do I need to be to become that? I need to learn video. I need to learn audio. I need to learn lighting. I need to learn thumbnails. I need to learn search engine optimization. And I also need to start learning marketing as well, and eventually start learning sales. Those are the things that I need to learn. Those are the skills that I need to acquire. So what do? Step number 2 in this framework, I find 3 to 5 books, courses, webinars, mentors, anything that's going to teach you those skills. I will find that and I will digest it and I will learn from it. And then I'll take that knowledge and I'll start to implement it. I'll start to practice. I'll read 3 to 5 books on marketing and then I'll start to practice marketing campaigns. I'll watch a video on how to do better lighting. And then in my next few videos, I'll experiment with that lighting. I'll watch a video on microphones to buy and how to improve my audio quality. I'll go ahead and do that, watch the videos, learn, and improve said thing. That is a core characteristics to out improving, and that's something that you should do if you also want to make progress. Learn relentlessly and apply what you learn immediately. Don't wait and don't become a library. Don't sit there and read 3, 5, 10 books on marketing and then never write a single marketing campaign. Don't sit there and watch 1,000 YouTube videos on how to create YouTube videos and never post a single YouTube video. The reason why I tell you that is because I did that exact same thing. For many years, I would watch content over and over and watching other people do the things that I want to do. And I just sit there saying, I'm going to do that one day. Or I sit there and say, oh, I just need to watch one more video. I'm almost there, but I just need to watch one more video and understand this one thing. And then a year goes by, 2 years goes by, 3 years goes by, and I'm still just watching. I haven't posted a single thing. Don't do that. Don't just watch. Don't just be a library. Take action, raw action, watch something, take action, and watch things start to build. Part 4 in this framework is to fail fast, adapt, and improve. I vowed to myself probably about a year, 2 years ago, that I wasn't going to let fear stop me from accomplishing my goals and objectives. Yes, it is scary to post content out there. It's scary to put yourself out there. It is scary to build a business. It's scary to go for that job promotion because there is a chance that you are going to fail. There's a chance that you're going to get rejected. People around you are going to see that, and you think to yourself that people are going to look at me and laugh at me, make fun of me, and think of me as less than. But the act alone of chasing failure is what is going to get you to grow. It's what's going to get you to actually become the person that you're trying to become. Success is in the work that you are avoiding. It is not in just watching and being passive and not actually going out there and posting things. You need to actually take action to out improve. So when you take that on as part of your principles and philosophies and values in life, you're going to really start moving forward. You're going to start doing some things and you're going to surprise yourself, just like I've surprised myself at some of the things that I've been able to do. And you will be very, very happy with the progress that you're going to start making. And that's going to make you want to do even more and more, quote unquote, riskier things that are going to get you to your goals and objectives. So one of the questions that that comes to mind and something that I ask myself is, okay, I want to out improve. I understand I read 3 to 5 books on each topic that I want to increase on. I understand that I can watch videos, I can consume content and learn that way. But I know what I want to do. I know who I want to be. Well, I don't know how to get there. So I ask myself this a lot, and I scratch my head a lot, and I really went around in circles and in circles about this. And it wasn't until I read a book called Steal Like an Artist. And the idea behind this book, Steal Like an Artist, is that almost every idea in this world has already been done, with the exception of some things, right? But most of the things that you're going to think about, somebody somewhere has already done them. And chances are there is content online, there is a business already doing that. But really what we do as humans and what we do as capitalists is we look at something that's in the market, and then you think about your way of improving that, or you look at that thing and you think, okay, I see they're doing fundamentally what I want to do, but I think I can do it in a different way. I think I can bring something unique from my own unique perspective and skill set and serve this market over here and create this type of content over here. But the foundation of it starts with somebody, starts with somewhere. So with Steal Like an Artist, if you're not sure how you're going to get to your goals and objectives, find somebody in that industry who is doing what you want to do and learn from them. Quote unquote, steal from them. Don't copy them. Don't try to do what they do, because you're never going to be a copy version of them. You're always going to be lesser than if you try to copy them. But if you look at their fundamentals, you look at their style, you can mimic some of those things, and eventually you start to become your own person and putting your own twist to it. So that is a philosophy that you can do if you want to out improve. I'll give you an example with creating content. I identified some of the people that I consider to be content mentors for me, like Roberto Blake, Pat Flynn, Sean Kennel from Think Media. I pretty much studied them, looked at how they made their videos, how their lighting was, how their cadence was, how their thumbnails were, how they spoke, and how they approached everything. And because I wanted to become like them, and I want to become like them, but in my own different version, and have the same level of success that they have had, I use the principles of Steal Like an Artist. Is I started looking at what they were doing and said, I'm going to do my version of that. I'm not going to copy them, but I'm going to do my version of that and talk about the topics that I want to talk about, the topics that I enjoy and can talk about and have authority to talk about. But they are my foundation. They are my mentors. So when you want to outwork and you don't know how you're going to do that, find somebody who's doing it and then follow them. The third core principle is to out-strategize. When you think of the top performers in this world, whether it's in business, whether it's in sports, or it's in entertainment, the people that are out at the top, they outwork everybody around them. They out-improve everybody around them. But what really separates them from the top and puts them in the category of the top 1% of the 1% is that they out-strategize those around them, meaning that they have a plan. They have a map that helps them reach that destination. They not only say they're going to do something, they not only envision and create the destination that they're going to, but they know exactly what they need to do to get there. And that is the next step to have your goals and objectives, is to strategize. So imagine you're going on a road trip and you wake up in the morning, get dressed, get in the car, and then you start driving and say that I am going to get to New York City. And then you get in the car and you start driving. You have no idea how to get to New York City. How long do you think that's going to take you to get to New York City? Or how long do you think it's going to be before you turn the car around and go back home? That's because you don't have a strategy. And strategy makes sure that every move you make gets you closer and closer to your goal. In order to create a strategy, there is a 4-part framework. And the first part of that is to start with the destination. Who do you want to be? So we talked a little bit about that in the Outwork section in the beginning, where you understand who you are. So this is applying that same vision to the Out Strategy section. And that is, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years? Not just who do you want to be 1 year from now. Great strategists think in decades. Your greatest chess players are always 15, 20, 30 moves ahead. When you start to think in that long-term view, when you start to think that far out ahead, it starts to really help you map out how you're going to work backwards from that long-term vision. Step 2, once you define where you want to be in 10 years, for example, who you want to be in 10 years, now work backwards and ask yourself, who do I want to be in 5 years? Who do I want to be 5 years from now so that I can be halfway to my 10-year goal? 5 years from now, I should be halfway to where I said I was going to be 10 years from now. This is now strategically working backwards. Who you're going to be 10 years from now is different than who you need to be 5 years from now. So start to think about that. Take some time to really think about that and to really strategize in the next 5 years, who do I want to be? Then step number 3, break it down even further. What can you do in the next year to get you closer to your 5-year goal? Who do you have to be in the next 12 months so that you can actually meet who you need to be in the next 5 years? Now, this starts to get real. It starts to hit a little deep because 12 months is something you can actually see. 5 years, a little hard to see, still good to map that out and strategize. But now when you start talking about 12 months, it starts to get real. This is where it brings back in the Out Improve section, what skills do I need to learn to accomplish my goals? In the next 12 months, what do I need to do to out improve so that I can actually out strategize? Step number 4 is to always ask yourself, is this the most efficient path to this goal? Always ask yourself this. You might put a monthly cadence on it where every single month you look at your goals and you ask yourself, you can do it daily, you can do it every quarter, but always ask, is this the most efficient path to get closer to my goal? Because we have a tendency to set a goal and then we take 500 detours before we get to that goal because there's other things that seem interesting, or then now you have a new goal, but then you come back to the old one. But when you ask yourself this question, I have this goal, a month from now, am I making progress towards that goal? Am I even still doing things to get to that goal? Am I doing something else completely? You have to audit yourself constantly, and you have to ask yourself, am I still on the path to reach this goal? Strategy turns into results. And when you have a clear path, you stop wasting time and you start moving with purpose and intent. Principle number 4 is to outlast your competition. Think back to the top performers, the top business people, top athletes, the Michael Jordans, the LeBron Jameses, the Tiger Woods, the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezos, the Steve Jobs, all these different icons and top performers. The one thing they have in common is that they outlasted everybody. They stayed in the game longer than everybody else. And when everybody else was dropping out, they just kept on going faster and faster and faster. And this is a core principle. And I would say that this is probably one, if not the most important principle out of the 4 principles. And this is something that I aspire to be, and something that I'm constantly working on every single day, is that I want to outwork my competition. I want to out-improve, and I am out-improving my competition. I am working on out-strategizing my competition, but I also want to outlast my competition. And when you become a strategic person, like we talked about, you think in decades. You don't think in 6 months. You don't think in 1 year, I'm going to do this. You think in decades. You see who you're going to be 10, 20, 30 years from now. And outlasting people and getting to that destination is something that really the very best and the very top are able to do. And if you aspire to be a top performer, then you need to embody this principle, and you need to start with it now and start with it in 2025. And even as we close out the year in 2024, start to think about how you're going to outlast, and you will see that it's going to fire you up and actually get you very, very motivated to go after it. There is one of my favorite interviews that the Mulligan brothers did with Bill Beswick, and he is a sports psychologist. One of the most interesting things that he said about top performing athletes is that there are athletes that train every single day and just want to put in the work and outwork. Then there are athletes that train to be the best. They put in a bit more hours than everybody else and take care of their bodies a little bit more than everybody else. Then there's athletes that train to be champions. These are the guys that live in the gym. These are the guys that live and breathe the sport and want to become champions. But then there's those few athletes that train to dominate, meaning that they put in so much work every single day that winning becomes inevitable on match night. It becomes a formality because they're so confident that they have outworked, out-improved, out-strategized, and they have outlasted every single person that they know that they're going to win. And these are the people that really drive me. These are the people that I study and watch, and the people that I aspire to be like in my own version. That is the philosophy of outlasting, is to be in the game, learn to love the game a lot longer than everybody else around you. Some of the greatest achievements that you will ever make in your life come from relentless consistency. And I put the word relentless in there because relentless means it never stops. You keep on going. When you embody that principle and when you start to do things relentlessly over a long period of time and you stay disciplined, you will outlast the competition. Now that you've learned how to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and outlast the competition, it's time to create your roadmap and success for 2025. In the next episode, we'll dive into creating your vision and mission for the year ahead. Don't miss it. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for part 3 of this series where we will map out your life plan so that you can go into 2025 with a plan and be ready to succeed. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.